Hey guys, it's Miss Lucky. Okay, so I was going to upload this video to my other channel, but like I said, I totally forgot the password, and then when I tried to reclaim the password, I totally forgot the password to the email that I hooked it up to, so yeah, pretty much screwed in that area, but whatever. Okay, so I wanted to share my story and experience with cancer, because I know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I know a lot of people either suffer from it or know a family member who is suffering from it or survived it. And yeah, so I figured I'd just share my experience with breast cancer with you guys so that maybe, I don't know, if they could help somebody deal with the situation they might be in or what have you. So my grandmother had breast cancer back in 2009. We didn't find out. The rest of the family, I think, with my grandmother, I think she knew for a while that she had cancer. She just didn't want the rest of the family to kind of worry. So, like 2009, towards the beginning of like February and March, she started losing a lot of weight. Like my grandmother was never like super obese or anything like that, but she was a little heavier, and she just lost like literally she started to get like skinnier than I was. And this was back when I was like 17, 18, so that's really skinny. And I would always ask her, Grandma, what's going on, this, that, and the third, why are you losing weight? And the funny thing is, my grandmother would always say it was because she was working out, and because she was just losing weight because she was on this diet thing, and she was eating less, and, she was working out. And then for an old person, working out isn't necessarily actually working out to a young person. So I was like, oh, show me your workout. And her workout was literally like walking down the hall in her apartment building and coming back and doing that 3 times and then coming back to sit down. So I just thought it was kind of funny at the time because I was like, okay, there's something wrong with her, but she's really just trying to cover it up. And the fact that she's saying she's exercising when, that's your exercise, is just like, no way. So that's kind of the funny thing that I pulled out of it, because she just tried to hide it so much, and she was just, my grandmother was always like one for excuses. So I spent most of the summer with my grandmother. I had a job, but I always had like 1 or 2 days off. So basically, I didn't work weekends. So basically every weekend I was over at my grandmother's house spending time with her, and like 1 or 2 days, like I said, out of the week I was over there too, helping her out, spending time with her, making sure she ate, making sure her food was cooked and stuff like that, making sure she was, clean and she took her medicine and whatnot. So I left for college August 25th. Of 2009. That was my first day of college when I moved in and everything like that. And I'd seen my grandmother, but nobody really told me anything. Nobody told me she was sick or anything like that. I think it was sometime like the second week of September. My mom was like, your grandmother's been admitted into hospice, which for those of you who don't know, hospice is basically a cancer hospital. They're usually in like really nice areas. Really great view, just all the staff is really nice, because, they're for cancer patients who are pretty much terminally ill at that point. So they try to make it as comfortable as possible for their patients and stuff. So after that, it kind of depressed me a little bit, because they said basically what I had learned was that my grandmother, it started off as breast cancer. And they supposedly got rid of it. They supposedly just did, what is it called? Is it a biopsy? I don't know what it's called, but where they just take the piece of cancer out instead of a full mastectomy, which is taking off your entire breast. So my grandmother opted to have that done, and they took out the piece supposedly. But as you know, or as most people know who deal with cancer, once it starts in one part of your body, it usually comes back in another part of your body. So it came back in her liver, and basically it got to the point where it had taken over her whole liver, and the doctors were like, the only thing you really can do is just wait for her to die. So, yeah, that was kind of hard to hear that, because there's really nothing you can do. And on top of that, your liver is what makes insulin, I think it is. And it's what kind of filters everything into your body and gets, the nutrients. If you take pills or anything, gets the nutrients where they need to be and stuff. So the medication that my grandmother was taking for her diabetes and stuff like that basically was not getting filtered through her liver because it was no longer functioning. And it was pretty much like any medicine that she would take was just making her more and more sick because of the cancer. So her eyes started turning yellow and stuff like that. Her skin just got really pale and kind of a greenish tint to it. It was just really hard to visit her and to see her like that because I was used to always seeing my grandmother kind of happy and up and, up, alive. So, probably around basically every single weekend, I went to visit her. I stayed overnight and stuff like that. And it's honestly very hard. Especially seeing as I had spent so much time with her during the summer, it's very hard to see somebody that you love and that you care about kind of just wilting away. And I'm sorry. Kind of just wilting away, and there's nothing that you can do to kind of help them, So you can't, you feel like you can't do anything. And because you can't, all you can do is try to make them more comfortable. And one thing that I remember about my grandmother before she passed away is that her memory kind of went. She didn't really remember anybody from the family and stuff like that. The only people she remembered by name was me and her cat. Basically, we brought her cat into the hospice to visit her. And she said, "Oh, hey, Q," because the cat's name is Quest. And she, greeted the cat and stuff like that. And when I came, she remembered who I was. And she was actually, asking for me by name and stuff while I was at school. And she had come to visit me, and she has, tubes in her mouth and all up her nose and stuff like that. So, that made me feel a little bit better because she didn't really recognize anybody else in my family. She remembered me. So like I said, it just made me feel better that, she did still have that memory before she passed away. So that was nice. I pretty much just held her hand and fed her ice chips while I was there. And then probably, it was October 30th. My mom called me and was like, "Hey, you need to come down," because I had already been planning on coming down for that weekend, but my mom was like, "You need to come now," because the nurse said, I guess the nurse had been working there for years and years and years, and she said, it gets to a certain point where you know when people are about to go. So the nurse kind of did everyone a favor and called us all and let us know to just come down and spend that time with my grandmother before she passed away. So that night I packed up my stuff. I didn't even take much with me. I just kind of got on the coach bus and went, and because I was living in Rhode Island at the time, and I went to go see my grandmother, and she couldn't talk. She was just kind of not necessarily staring off into space, but kind of staring down like she was trying to close her eyes and stuff. And, at that point, all you can really do is tell somebody that you love them and that hope that they're not in pain during that time. So pretty much I spent that night with her, and then I went home with my mom because I was just done. I couldn't stop crying because I knew what was about to happen. And sorry guys. And probably that morning I spent the night over my mom's house, and pretty much 4 o'clock that morning they said she had passed, and that we could come get her stuff and everything like that. So yeah, she passed on October 31st at 4 in the morning, I think. So yeah, that's kind of my experience with people in my family who have had cancer. And I love my grandmother very much, like I said, and ever since then, kind of, I've been very very set on sharing that story, and very not so much open about it. I really haven't shared it with anybody until now, but that's pretty much what I dealt with. And I got this tattoo the year that my grandmother passed away. I got the, I don't know if you guys can tell what it is from here, but it's the pink breast cancer ribbon tattoo, and it says grandma on the inside of it. And I have my little Alex and Annie bracelet with the breast cancer symbol on it. And then even like every year my mom gets me something with the breast cancer symbol on it. So I always had my keys and stuff with the breast cancer symbol on it. I have like an actual key on my ring that's a breast cancer ribbon. So yeah, my advice to anybody who's dealing with it or who has a family member that has cancer, especially if you know their time is about to be up, if it's gotten to the point where the doctor, you know, they're terminally ill, there's no coming back from it, spend as much time as you can with them. Just, I'm not going to say don't think about it, because that's virtually impossible. To this day, I still get kind of wound when I think about it. But spend as much time with that person as possible, make them as comfortable as humanly possible. Go to treatments with them if you can, because chemo can be just harsh on someone's system. My grandmother never went to chemo because at that point she knew that it was just, you know, there's not much chemo can do for your liver. Her liver is very sensitive. So yeah, but just try to spend as much time as possible with them. You know, tomorrow is never promised for anybody. So, and for those of you who have cancer and have not been deemed terminally ill, you know, stay strong. Take it one day at a time. Go through chemo if you want to, and if you need to, take your medicine. Make sure you tell your family. You know, it could be hard to kind of break it to your family, but like I said, I feel like I can't help but feeling like if my grandmother had possibly told us earlier and not kept it to herself, that I don't know, maybe we could have helped her a little bit more, and maybe she would have had a little bit more time, you know? So, because it takes a toll on the rest of your family too. So, but yeah, so that's my story. I just wanted to share it with you guys. And if you guys have any questions, or if you'd like to share your story with me, you can definitely inbox me. You don't have to leave it in the comment box. Inbox me or hit me up on Instagram or anything like that. So yeah, and I will see you guys later. Bye.